Welcome back to the channel and Happy New Year to all of you. My name is Colin Tedards and welcome to today's show. And on today's show, I'm going to make some forecasts that, if they materialize, could significantly influence your investment decisions and your portfolio in 2024. Let's not waste any time. We'll jump right into it. My first bold prediction is Apple will drop from being the most valuable company in the world to being the third largest company here in the United States. Now, it's already plausible to think that Microsoft, currently trailing Apple, I think by only a few $100 billion in terms of market cap, it's set to overtake Apple probably any day, any week now. Okay, Microsoft's new Copilot software developed with OpenAI, along with its recent acquisition of Activision Blizzard, the video game maker, that's going to set to substantially increase the revenue and the profits that Microsoft makes in 2024. So that's an easy one, okay? So I think that's going to happen probably in the month of January. But which company might surpass Apple to take the second spot? Now you have Saudi Aramco. I'm not counting that. That's an international company. I'm talking about an American company, another American tech giant overtaking Apple. My bet is it's going to be Amazon. Now, that's kind of a gutsy call, right? Considering Amazon's current market value is approximately half of Apple's at the current time. For Amazon just to match Apple's market cap, the stock would basically have to double in value. But there's more to consider here. My view is Apple might face a particularly rough year ahead for a number of different reasons. First of all, Wall Street is projecting just simply pathetic revenue growth for Apple over the next year, whereas Amazon is projected to grow about 11% and reach $630 billion worth of revenue for a full year. That's incredible. Most companies never achieve that over a century. So this shift in focus for investors, I think, could really have a significant reallocation of investment from Apple. And we're talking about the big ETFs, which are overweight Apple and have it as its number one holding. I think we could see a reallocation of those investments to more growth oriented names like Microsoft, Amazon, maybe even Google as well. So regardless, Apple is beginning to look and feel more like kind of a tired tech giant, maybe a little IBM-like, if you will, than the innovator that we've known the company has been for the past 30 years. And so one thing I don't want you to get me wrong is, like, the company's products are still top notch, but I actually think that's a flaw for the companies. The company's products, like the phones and the MacBooks, I have several of them, they're so good that I have no reason to upgrade even after several years. And so that is going to hurt the company going forward. And that brings me kind of to my next prediction as well, that it's going to hurt Apple. And I expect OpenAI, in partnership with Johnny Ive, to release an AI powered smartphone in 2024, probably just months away from this. Johnny Ive was essentially Steve Jobs' right hand man in terms of design at Apple, and he's since left the company many years ago to start his own design firm out here in California. Another chief designer, this happened just recently, a chief designer at Apple working on the iPhone, he also left Apple and he's now joining Ive at his design firm, which I view as a sign that a product release is probably just around the corner. So this is going to have Apple shares under pressure all year and really open the door really for Microsoft, but surprisingly probably Amazon as well, to surpass the tech giant in terms of value. Now we're going to do a whole 180 on my next prediction. We're going to move away from the tech sector and go to the commodity side of the market. Yeah, that's right. And we're going to talk about crude oil. So after peaking in the summer of 2022, WTI crude oil index has really just been sliding downward ever since then. Currently, the index is sitting on a bed of support, bed of like technical support, if you will, right around the $60 to $65 level. But a break of that level really hasn't materialized in about 2 years. I believe a combination of politics and slowing demand will send crude oil prices falling to the $40 level in 2024. That would equate to about a 40 to nearly 50% decline in crude oil if that $40 level is reached. And I think that's going to happen here in 2024. Now, obviously, as you all know, here in the United States, we're heading into a hotly contested election year. Gasoline prices and the popularity of the president are correlated to a certain degree. There's been a fair amount of research on that. Now, despite his many flaws, President Joe Biden is simply no dummy when it comes to playing politics. He's got the, get this, I bet most of you don't even know this. He's got the United States quietly pumping more oil than any country in the history of the world. That's right. You heard that right. As Joe Biden is going to be around the country this year campaigning on the Green New Deal and how he's hip to alternative energy, he's actually got the United States pumping more fossil fuels out of the ground than ever before. He's quietly doing this because it obviously goes against some of the agenda that he's been running on. And look, even if President Biden loses in November, nobody is expecting former President Trump or really any Republican to reverse the oil production boom that we've seen over the last year. Now, OPEC would love to keep prices high, and one way to actually do that is to actually drive prices down to make drilling here in the United States less profitable. It's a strategy that's actually been used before, and I expect it to happen again in 2024. That's going to be good news, really, if you're a consumer out there for gasoline prices, but also airlines, freight and logistic providers. Think about your FedEx and UPSs. It will also almost guarantee inflation continues a steady path toward the Fed's 2% target, which obviously will impact interest rates as well. My next bold prediction is this will be the year of the good old boring investment bank. That's right, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, take your pick, doesn't really matter. But both firms are trading at levels they were at nearly 3 years ago. So if you bought the stock 3 years ago, you really haven't done anything, okay, in terms of performance. The lack of IPOs and corporate fundraising over the past, we'll call it 18 months or so, has really decimated the investment banking profit centers that these companies rely on. Now, 2024, though, is shaping up to be an absolute epic year when it comes to IPOs, and we'll certainly cover this and we'll talk more about it as the years goes along. But mature businesses like Reddit, Stripe, Instacart, Panera Bread, Fanatics, which is like a sports clothing distributor, they are all set to reach the public markets for the first time this year. This is going to spark a fundraising frenzy, and the investment banks are going to be set to capitalize on that. Lower interest rates will spark a new round of corporate debt fundraising as well. All totaled, it's shaping up to be a fantastic year for investment banks. My final bold prediction is investors are going to be shocked, absolutely shocked. And we're talking just weeks away here about the profit AI is generating right now for companies. We're just weeks away from software companies like Microsoft and Salesforce, among others. They're going to be proving to investors that it's been able to charge customers more money for AI powered software and services. Investors are going to be surprised because most of this software is being sold B2B or business to business. Most consumers, like you and I, our interaction with AI might be with ChatGPT or maybe one of these customer service chatbots. So we don't really see how much AI is being used, but it's aggressively being adopted and used by large corporations to analyze data, make decisions, and run the company more efficiently. Microsoft has essentially layered AI onto software. Think about it. Software like Excel and Word and PowerPoint. This software is like 30 or 40 years old, and it's layered AI onto it, and it's able to charge even more for software, again, that's 30 or 40 years old. This trend will play out all year, okay? Not just the big giants like Microsoft and Salesforce. And look, despite the solid run that many of these software companies had, 2024 is going to be even better. Folks, those are my bold predictions for 2024. If and when one or more of them fails terribly, I fully expect to hear about it. So feel free to reach out when that happens. Otherwise, let me know what your bold predictions are. I'd love to hear from you. And I look forward to seeing you more and more in this new year. Until then, Happy New Year, and we'll see you again soon.